And now let's turn to SAP and Kai Vanderloo, one of the executives driving a number of SAP cloud initiatives. Based at the SAP Labs, today Kai brings us two rare treats: a glimpse into SAP's future plans for marrying cloud and ERP resources, and an inside look at how SAP itself is using the cloud for its own corporate users. Kai.
Thanks, Vance. What I wanted to talk about here as a case study is actually how we are using the cloud internally, from which we have learned a lot for our product development. So I'll be explaining how we are using a cloud infrastructure within SAP. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, and the solution that we built out initially for ourselves is something that will be productized going forward here, and I'll talk about that a little bit later today, what our plans are on the product side. But for now, I'll just show you here how we're using this internally. Whenever an SAP employee needs access to a new SAP system, they can go to a self-service portal we built, these SAP Cloud Enabling Services, and deal with the provisioning of a system here. So you can basically go in here, request a system. The system is provisioned onto a cloud infrastructure, and the solution becomes available on that cloud infrastructure for the same or another employee then to use, just as if it would sit in-house. The cloud infrastructure we are primarily using is Amazon's Web Services. We gravitated towards this because it was available and stable already when we started this. In principle, we could use any other cloud infrastructure as well. The layer we built on top, the SAP Cloud Enabling Services, they deal with the provisioning, they deal with some configuration aspects, and they deal with metering. So we have a database of valid configurations. We have a database that stores the metering data. When we get an invoice from Amazon, we can allocate the cost back to the cost centers of the employees that have been using this. So this solution takes care of the SAP specific characteristics of our platform, and it deals with the characteristics of the Amazon Web Services cloud infrastructure. It comes with plugins for other cloud infrastructures, and it deals with all the different SAP technology stacks, whether it's our ABAP stack, our Java stack, or other technologies that we are using. So this solution we have been using for about 2 years now internally. It's still in kind of a beta phase, so we haven't given every employee access to this yet, but the results so far are quite impressive. We have more than 400 templates out there that people can use. We've got hundreds of people using this. It's a truly global effort, and in June alone, we provisioned about 1,200 SAP systems using this thing. The results in terms of savings are amazing. Not only do we have cost savings compared to traditional provisioning, most interestingly, I think, is the time we save. Because now when somebody wants a system, they go to this self-service portal, select the template they want the system provisioned from, and have the system up and running within half an hour or less. So the total time we have saved through this solution compared to a more traditional provisioning of physical hardware is absolutely amazing. And this is also what we see in our customer base as the big driver for people to move to cloud infrastructures. It is not so much cost savings, it is the increased agility. And it's not just IT agility that you get systems faster, it's the business agility that you want to do something new in your business that requires a new system. And by using cloud infrastructures, you can have these systems provisioned much faster. You want to try something out, some new way of supporting your business, you can try it out within days or weeks, not having to wait for physical hardware to be provisioned, which typically takes somewhere between 3 and 6 months in many companies. And having a cloud infrastructure available, having the ability to deploy different SAP solutions on cloud infrastructure is really helping people moving much faster within IT around their SAP systems. And as I said earlier, we've had this up and running for about 2 years. The uptake internally has been fantastic lately. In June alone, we bought about 60,000 server hours at Amazon Web Services, and this has been increasing with roughly 50% quarter over quarter lately. And this is still, as I said earlier, under some form of controlled availability. When this becomes more available to all of the employees here in the company, I believe this is going to increase even further.
You know, Kai, that's a very interesting example, especially given the amount of escalating interest and adoption you've got internal to SAP. One of the things I know we're going to get to later in your solo drill down session is this idea of on-premise versus on-demand. And it seems like this form factor is actually a little bit of a hybrid or a mix of both. Can you talk a little bit about what SAP envisioned as they pulled out this portal deployment model, and if it actually is a little bit of a different engagement model than just the traditional on-demand model?
Well, the systems we are deploying here are traditional on-premise type applications that we now deploy on-demand infrastructure or infrastructure as a service. So we continue to use the same type of system, but we deploy them on the most modern infrastructure available. Later in the drill down session, I will talk about what we do in terms of on-demand application development, where the application itself is being served up on demand.
The aspect of this model that strikes me as very valuable and probably would strike some of our IT architect and service management folks as interesting is it seems as though I can keep my same governance, my same policy approvals in place and yet just basically outsource a lot of the tedious provisioning and testing to the cloud, but keep the governance aspects I need.
Exactly. And that's what our customers are after very often, that they have their SAP systems up and running, they have the governance under control, they have everything under control in these systems. And what we're doing with this effort is we're just bringing them the benefits of the modern hardware and modern infrastructure development to these existing systems. So it's a way of absorbing innovation without disrupting the systems that customers already have in place.
Very powerful, very powerful. Kai van der Loo, looking forward to hearing from your session later this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.